miles between us now.
I left Colorado with Florida as my destination to hibernate for the winter. Somehow, about halfway there, I found myself meeting up with a couple photographers I had never met, being handed a kayak, and climbing on board at 6 a.m. with some of the most expensive equipment I own.
Did you get it?
I don't know. It's gonna be weird. It's kind of weird.
Tell me how you really feel.
Huh?
I said, tell me how you really feel.
I know. I just don't know what I'm looking for.
Trees with moss.
Yeah.
Good luck finding one here.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna find any. Oh, now she realizes I'm filming.
I am on my way, and by the time the night is through, I will be waking up to you. When I hold you, it's like nothing missing. When I hold you, it's like nothing's missing. Sometimes I wonder how this life plays out. Do we choose the love we get?
Over the next 4 days, we ventured out onto the water trying to capture some classic shots of cypress trees during the fall color change with the hopes of fog and atmosphere. Sadly, this was the only morning there was any signs of mist or fog, but that didn't stop me from getting creative over the next couple days.
Played out my life 1,000 times and found, and everyone you're in. Don't need the future or what was. For me, it's you and it's enough.
This first morning was a bit of a challenge for me to film and photograph. I quite literally went in the dark, and I wanted to take as little as possible, thus I didn't get as much footage as I would like. Combine that with the formidable task of finding interesting compositions in the middle of a lake surrounded by beautiful mossy cypress trees in every direction, it meant I spent a lot of my morning just taking it in, not trying to capture it all, and just patiently waiting for the images to find me.
There's an extra level of nervousness when you're out here just on a kayak with all your stuff. This is all I have though. This is the only thing I brought. R5, 100-500, and a wet bag, and my phone. Something going on over there. What a beautiful morning. Absolutely gorgeous.
When I hold you, it's like nothing's missing. When I hold you, it's like nothing's missing. I don't need anything. I don't need anything.
Preceding an afternoon of editing, eating, and spending time together, we got back out on the water for sunset. Not to mention, Ross got to tow something for the first time. This time, I brought something to allow myself to film, so I hope you enjoy what looks like a 30-minute advertisement for my boots over the next 2 episodes. Throughout most of these adventures, I was tempted to bring a wider lens, but found myself not missing it all that much. I also decided to shoot strictly handheld, boosting up my ISO to compensate. The water here is shallow enough to allow you to use a tripod, but I really didn't want to faff around with one, and I enjoyed the freedom of not having to deal with it. Hey, have you ever wanted to learn photo editing but struggled in finding the right path? Well, I recently released my Lightroom Editing Companion, which will help you create a more guided and productive workflow within your editing. All right, so the first actual setting we're going to use is the white balance and profile. All this is going to do is set my color profile to Adobe Landscape and set my white balance. Now, just like I was saying before, if you don't know about white balance, you can come in here to the companion. You can tell exactly what this preset is doing, and then you can watch this video that explains what white balance is at depth. Many of the images within this video are edited using my companion, and if you sign up for my newsletter right now, you can get 10% off. I'll even be sending out a raw edit of this image within a week of this video's release if you sign up. If you want more information, check out the link down below the like button after you're finished with this video. Speaking of, let's get back to this video.
If you're lost and you're lonely, go and figure out why. Take a trip to your dark side. Go on and have a good cry. 'Cause we're all lonely. Yeah, we're all lonely together. I want to see your sadness. I want to share your sin. I want to bleed your blood. And
For my frequent viewers, you'll know that I bought this 100-500 with the intention of only using it for Alaska and then selling it off. Well, obviously it's still here, and it was crucially versatile in the situation where I needed it most. I cannot thank you all enough for your continued support on my journey, as it's entirely possible that without that support, I wouldn't have this tool that enabled me to take some of these photos. So thank you.
I want to be let in. Don't you just, don't we all just want to be together? Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. If your face is down, but take a look around. Do your fingers move? Do your lungs inflate? Are you tired? Are you weary of the hidden hate you've been holding?
All right, so it is very difficult to film myself, especially talking to the camera, while I'm on a boat with my camera, which is now put away in my wet bag. But also, even if I wasn't on a boat, just trying to find compositions in all of this. This is the area that I was just shooting. The sun is down. It's pretty much low enough light where I can safely put the camera away and not regret it. But I think I may have just gotten a portfolio shot right here. When the sun was setting and the light was hitting these cypress trees, there is this white cypress tree that is kind of directly in the middle of the frame. Well, I put it in the directly middle of the frame, but a boat had gone through a little bit earlier, like maybe 30 seconds before, and it caused ripples in the waves. And there also happened to be an egret. I think it was an egret. It's either a heron or an egret. I can't remember which one was actually in the shot. And the waves are perfectly rippled and the top of the frame is perfectly still. And the light was just super gorgeous. And I actually think it might be a portfolio shot. I never really know with, especially, I mean, portfolio shots have to be like up and beyond, pretty rare throughout the year, even though I'm shooting often. But the fact that I feel like it was special when I took the shot and reviewed it on my camera probably means it's, you know, pretty good, because I'm usually very strict. Or normally, like this morning, I took a bunch of shots and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I got anything. But right now, I think I got something, and pretty stoked on that. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous here. This has been a lot of fun. You know, what's really strange is that I was born and raised in Florida, surrounded by stuff like this. Maybe not necessarily this dense of moss-covered cypresses. See if you can, as you've seen throughout all the clips. And I ran away from it. You know, let's talk about this more. Let's talk about this more in this episode. I think there's a lot to say, more than I want to say sitting here drifting on this boat. So, yeah, I'll just leave it at absolutely gorgeous. Hope you enjoy the shot, or multiple shots that I just got. Man, okay. let's get back to shore before it's I can't see anything. I gotta find where the other people I'm with are. I think they're all the way, yeah, you can't even see them on the screen.
As I said out on the kayak, it is really, really rare for me to ever take a shot and think that it might end up in my portfolio before getting on a computer. And this is no exception, because once I got the shot on the computer, it turns out that I don't love it as much as I did when I took it, which is really interesting, and it makes me reflect back to think, what was I thinking and what did I see when I was sitting on the kayak and I took that shot? Because it certainly does not transcend in the final form of what you're seeing now on the screen. Maybe that's lack of editing, or maybe it was just the emotions I was feeling when I took the shot. Regardless, I like the shot overall, but it's definitely not something that will end up in my portfolio, unless maybe you think otherwise and you want to comment down below on what you think of this shot.
What's heavy behind? Leave what's heavy. What's heavy behind?
I ended up taking my camera back out after the sun had set to capture this great egret that was almost glowing in this composition, even though there was no light. I particularly like these images, but the egret is a little bit too blurry because I tried to boost my ISO as high as I possibly could and my shutter speed as high as I possibly could to get it in flight. It didn't quite get there, but I think overall, zoomed out, I like these images.
Are you feeling fearful, brother? Are you feeling fearful, sister? The only way to lose that fearful feeling, replace it with love that's healing.
It's really interesting being here, like I was saying, because this whole area feels like from where I'm from. I literally, if I watch this video, I would guess that I'm somewhere in northern Florida or Louisiana or whatever. And that whole area, that whole stretch of land, all of the stuff looks very similar. And what's really interesting about this is that it's funny coming back here and finding the beauty and being here with purpose to shoot these lakes and cypress trees, because that's basically where I grew up. For 30 years of my life, I lived in northern Florida in environments that look like this. And yet I only really took landscape photos when I traveled. I would only find myself finding inspiration when I would plan a trip and go somewhere like Iceland or Norway or the Dolomites or whatever, and that's when I mainly shot photos. I would never really shot photos in my backyard. I did sometimes, but the reality is it always felt like I was very limited because of temperature. I just wanted to avoid humidity and heat. Thus, I really only found myself shooting when it was cool enough to be out shooting. And I don't mean like cool like I'm cool, I just rolled up on a one wheel kind of cool. I mean cool like temperature cool. So it's really, I don't know, it feels like I'm where I know the most, which is just strange. I have quite a few photos from Florida, but I never remember feeling like I was excited to wake up and go shoot in Florida. So being here and being excited to be out on the water shooting feels really good. It's like I've kind of left home for a couple years and come back and seen everything differently. It's as if like I've experienced all these places like the seascapes in Oregon or the mountains in Alaska or the snow in Colorado or the deserts of Utah. And I've come back here and I'm like, man, I really appreciate all of the uniqueness that these places have to offer as well. And it's like this reinvigorated feeling of home. It feels really good. So I'm gonna keep shooting. Let's go see what everyone's up to over here. See? It's not that hard. You picked it up in like 5 minutes, less than.
I actually ended up having trouble sleeping on day 2, but it worked out for the best considering the conditions weren't very great when we woke up, so none of us ended out on the water. Instead, Bree made food for all of us. I showed John how to ride the one wheel, and then we got out on the water for sunset. The conditions weren't very promising, with a lot of soft light on the trees that wasn't very pleasing overall. However, we made the best of it though, and we took a few photos of each other while we waited around for sunset. I took a few of Jean took a few of me, and then the sun finally started to poke its way through the clouds.
You've had me all along. We've gone a long way. Now take it home. Take it home. Let's go together. Take a walk in the desert. Get a summer glow.
Oh, this side light. Woo! Oh yeah. I gotta get my camera out. Oh, baby.
In the spray of the land, in a suitcase of sand, take a picture of us there, and take it home. I'm with you always. You've had me all along. We've gone a long way. Now take it home. Take it home.
The sunset on the lake was tough, because the clouds ended up catching some nice color, but only after all the light had left the trees. There was a few moments of nice light on the trees, but it was nearly just too harsh. The balance of softer yet pleasing light is delicate and only happens in a short amount of time as the sun is setting or rising. You just have to hope that it doesn't get blocked by clouds. I took a few images I liked, but most were just for fun, as nothing was particularly catching my eye while I was out on the lake. That being said, I was just happy to be out there, on the water, and bonding with new friends.
All right, we've officially decided that I'm moving into this kayak, and we're getting rid of the 4Runner. That's Nathan, John, Aaron. It's Aaron, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been calling you Aaron all night. It's actually Adam.
Take it home. 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 I'm with you always. You've had me all along. We've gone a